made sex to be enjoyed. We said we agreed that it was for procreation and also for pleasure. So we are agreed on that. Why is it then that a woman would say to her husband, I do not want to have sex with you? And we looked at some of the things last evening. We saw that life circumstances, women, they have to do so many different things, work, children, and these things are interconnected in the sense that, for a man could have a bad day at work and come home. In fact, maybe now he wants to have sex with his wife. Or he had a good day and he want to come home and celebrate. It doesn't matter whether it's raining or it's snowing for a man. And we're speaking in general here, he's ready. Women are affected by things that play on their mind and their emotions. And so we saw that life circumstances. We saw also that diabetes and Prophetess was talking about diabetes. Are we honest yet? I didn't ask if we.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We
sir.
are okay. Great. My apologies. Yeah, diabetes, and Prophetess was talking about diabetes just now in women and men, and what happens. So diabetes, we see, also affects women's sexual health. They have decreased desire. They have vaginal dryness. In order to have enjoyable sex, a woman must be secreting, in that area. And once it's dry, then sex is painful. It's also difficult to be aroused when you have diabetes as a woman. And not only in terms of arousal, but coming to that place of orgasm. It's difficult for a woman when she has diabetes because the blood doesn't flow to that area. We're also talking about hormonal changes as well, and psychological factors. Yeah. Also, prescription medication, which includes taking medication for depression, also decreases a woman's desire to have sexual relations with her husband. We saw also that surgery that relates to the breast and the genital area also causes a woman to not want to have sex. It decreases her sexual desire. And of course, during menopause, and that's something we want to talk about again the next time. We did have somebody come in to talk about menopause and andropause, and I think I'm going to bring him back again because he's very good. During menopause, it's something that men oppose because we don't understand it. But during menopause and during pregnancy and also breastfeeding, these things changes a woman's hormone levels. And because of that, there's a decreased desire for sexual intimacy or sexual intercourse. We looked at some other areas which I would like to go back to tonight. And that is, there are some women who just don't like sex. They don't like it. Why they got married? Well, that's, for them to say. But they don't like sex. And let me put in a plug here again for premarital counseling, please. If you have to get married, for those of you who are unmarried right now, and you're thinking about getting married sometime in the future, please ensure that you have premarital counseling. And if you are in this ministry, please speak to us, myself and Prophetess, because premarital counseling in one church is not the same in another church. And I will leave it at that. All right, not everybody can do premarital counseling. So we have had experience in doing that. So we ask you, if you're part of LiveRight Ministries, reach out to us. Okay, and we will schedule some time for that. So, and the reason why I'm saying that is because during premarital counseling, we talk about sex. We talk about it openly, and it's very confidential, and you don't have to worry. But some people just don't like sex. And I told you last evening, I counseled a couple And the woman said outright that she did not like sex. The man was having a terrible time. They did have a child, but she said she didn't like sex, and that's because of her past. She was abused, she was raped, and sex to her brings back memories, so she doesn't enjoy it at all. So there are some women, because of their past, because of the abuse, and maybe even I would include maybe promiscuity. Maybe they were promiscuous in the past, and that brings them back to where they were before. Maybe all that is, and maybe that is also part of the reason why some women do not like sex. Then we looked at the fact that some women, and I would like to hear, I really would like to hear from the men on this one. Some women say the conditions have to be right. So there are some women, once the house is not cleaned up, once it's in a mess, she cannot have sex with her husband. The house has to be clean first, so he has to wait until the house is clean, or he has to help her clean the house. Then some women say, I not in this state, I need to take a bath, I need to shower. I need to shower in order to do that, especially if it's at the end of the day and I come home from work. No, I need to go take a shower. Also, women said, we're in the kitchen, we're in the living room. Children are not around, but as far as they're concerned, this is not the place for sexual relation. Not in the kitchen, not in the living room, not in that room, but only in the bedroom. Some women say. Or it's not the right time of the day. This is the middle of the day. Why are you harassing me tonight when the light is off? That kind of thing. And that's another thing too. The light have to be off, not on. Okay, so these are some of the reasons. I want to pause here for a minute, and I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these reasons? I don't want to call them excuses. These reasons. And women too, I want you to chime in too. Do you think they are reasonable? Do you think that men should understand this is how you feel? Let's talk. Let's talk. Talk to me, ladies. And as I told you last night, please don't be shy. Please don't be shy. Let's talk. Let's talk. We're going to be helping somebody. Somebody needs to hear about these things. So let's talk. Are these valid reasons for a woman not wanting to have sex with her husband?
Some of the comments in the chat, one says no, not all. So maybe some, but not all. Another says some people don't know how to be creative in the bedroom. Another says anytime, anywhere. And another says yes, it is, and more.
Oh, so the person who said yes, it is. These are valid reasons.
Correct. Yes, that's what they're saying.
Okay. Anyone else? Are we hearing from the men? I know we don't have many men on board, but are we hearing from the men at all?
They're very quiet tonight, Dr. Richards.
I don't know. I know this is a touchy subject, and people still feel, as we say, how people still feel this is not something I want to talk about publicly. You could ask me about it privately, but not publicly. We need to talk about these things. We need to listen. Your children are talking about these things in school and with their friends. Why is it we can't talk about it?
One person said sometimes your body not looking good, so you want to do it in the dark.
Okay, your body may not be looking good, but it's that, women, I guess both women and men, sometimes when you look at yourself, you wonder, what my spouse seeing me? and you don't feel that you're looking good, but did your spouse say that to you? Did he or she say that you're not looking good? And I tell you, for a man, it's not about how you're looking, All right? For most men, and when I speak in general, because we have the exceptions, of course. But for a man, he's not too much concerned about looking good. All right. So maybe if people are not willing to talk, maybe we should poll it one by one. Yes?
Dr. Richards, Elder Sherry, hand is up.
Okay, great. So we have somebody who's willing to talk. Let's hear you, Elder Sherry.
I'm just begging to differ with what you said about for a man is not what they see. Because that's, for me, most times is what a man see that is what attracts him. And,
can I just, before you go on, can I just clarify that? Now I'm talking about a husband and wife, and the person said, because they're not satisfied with how they look. And I'm saying for a husband and okay, somebody's mic is open. Check your mic, please. Right. Yeah. So I'm just clarifying. Of course, men are turned on by what they see, and that's why they go after things that they're not supposed to go after. And that's why Jesus said, if a man looks at a woman and lusts after her. But I'm just talking about it in the context of a husband and wife. Sometimes you're thinking, well, I get too fat, to put on too much weight and that kind of thing. And you are thinking that he is thinking that, and maybe so. But when it comes to sex, a man will have sex with you still, even if he doesn't like what he sees. Yeah? So
I can make an example, a relative of mine, my brother, to be exact. One time his wife indicated to me that he doesn't make any advancement towards her and stuff like that, and it's been so long and what have you. And I was having a conversation with him based on that. And he was making some frivolous excuses, and none of it made any sense to me. It just seemed to me like he was not interested in having sex with his wife, but he was interested in other people, and for me, if that's your wife, then that's the first interest, because I mean, there are men who just, as we would say in Trinidad, they eye long, but that's your first interest, but she said he would do everything to come in late and do all the things, and I'm sure a lot of women may be able to relate to that. And for me, then it has to be, well, he wasn't saying what exactly it was. He making all that he was saying made no sense, but for her, there's a sense of feeling dejected, and then you start to question yourself, how you look, and then and then maybe looking at what they're looking at, because if you're in tune with him, you would see that. And for, of course, that will make you feel dejected and broken.
Yeah.
So
I hear you, and I accept that. But I also want to say that sometimes it's not so much what a man sees as what he wants, and she's not giving it to him. Maybe how he wants it. Maybe she is not responsive. Sometimes it could be that more than and when we talk about his wife, it may be that rather than what he's seeing. All right, because I tell you, even if she maybe put on weight or lost weight or whatever, if his time with her, that intimate time is something that he enjoys, then I think how she looks will be secondary. All right, that's just my take on that. But no problem. Go ahead. Anyone else? Or you want to continue?
No. I made my point. There are several hands up.
Thank you. Oh, several hands. Okay.
Yeah, before we call the hands up, another comment that was made on the chat is that some men really love sex and want as often as they desire. But remember, women are very tender down there. Another said, for me, that's lust. He looking outside. Another says he may love her, but may not like her anymore. I feel like Dr. Richard, sometimes I want to say it a different way. I feel like he may love her, but maybe not in love. I don't know. So we have brother. Is this brother Jules?
Yeah.
Oh,
Brother
wow,
Jules. But
brother
before
Jules.
Brother Jules, now what we're discussing here is the reason why some women, we will get to the men as well. But we want to discuss why some women, and the reason why we started talking about it because what Elder Sherry said. All right. But right now we're looking at why is it a woman may not want to have sex with her husband. So let's go. Brother Jules.
Good evening, family.
Welcome, sir.
Dr.
Welcome
Richards
home.
and
Welcome
Prophetess.
home.
Thank you, sir. I feel welcome. Appreciate it. Just wanted to share my little input, on the topic as why women sometimes don't desire to have sex. See, sex is a thing is not started in the bedroom first to begin with. You start, intimacy is a thing that always happens in a relationship. Remember, she is your oneness. So in everything that you do, you have to make her feel, like wanted. And she will do the same for you. You prepare a woman for sex the morning prior to having sex with her, not 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, or at midnight. The morning, you'll even go to work. That's when it starts, where you share, affirmation with her, let her know how good she's looking, how good she makes you feel, and how happy it is that, that she's in your life, and you can't wait to come home to her. You plant the seed. You water it during the day, where you would call her, you would talk to her, you would let her know how much she makes you feel good and how you so appreciative that God bless you with her in your life. You continue to water that seed until you get home, okay? You would meet a home where it's clean, food is cooked, it's smelling good, because she already knew what's coming down, right? She getting ready. She get the kids ready. She put them, make sure that they eat, getting off to bed early that night because she wants to spend her time with her husband. Now we're talking about husband and wife, Let's keep it in that context, right? So, leading into the bedroom, you're already prepared her. A woman must be prepared before she has sex with you. You guys don't just jump on her and have sex. She's not an animal, all right? She's a human being, okay? And you have to treat her as such, where you prepare her for intimacy. As the man, that's what you do. So in that event, a woman will always be ready and would be, wanting to have sex with you. We are different. Men and women are different. Okay.
Thank you.
Just wanted to share that. That's my input.
Thank you, Brother Jules.
You're welcome.
And I hear you because we talked about that. A lot of things are interconnected. But I'll tell you something too. In response to that, if it is that's the only time you prepare your wife, that's the only time you feel good because you're thinking about tonight and I'm going to prepare during the day, that will last for a little while, because then she will see, other times he's not doing all of that, but he wants something tonight, so he's calling me, he's texting me, saying that sort of thing. And as I said, the novelty of that can wear off for a woman because she knows what's coming. And what if she, for some reason, she's not in the mood, or she's thinking, oh Lord, tonight, boy, this man wants something. So my response to that is that you treat your wife that way all the time. My response is that you continuously prepare her, not just when you feel you want to have sexual relations with her. In that way, she's always ready. In that way, she doesn't know what is in your head and what is in your mind in terms of planning, because you treat her that way and she feels that way, so she will always be ready, even if it's not physically, but psychologically or mentally, she will be ready because of the way her husband treats her. All right, so I just wanted to add that to it, Brother Jules, because
Richard,
what you said.
If I may interrupt you, just my apologies. I think you assume that I meant it's only when you want to have sex. This is every time. Intimacy and romance is something that you continuously do with your wife. Like the Bible says, do the first works all over again. It's something you continue to do. Not just only when you want to have sex that morning, you do that. That's a continuous romance, a continuous intimacy that you and your wife shares that brings that oneness together. Remember, you want to grow into a oneness. This is not something you do only when you desire to have sex. This is something you do all through your relationship with your wife. Intimacy and romance is something that never stops. Do the first works all over again, which means the way you court her to lead up to where you are, where you're married, or your husband and wife right now, is something you continue to do for the rest of your life. You continue to love your wife, continue to romance your wife, continue to be intimate with your wife, continue to show her affection, show her abdomation, show her, acceptance. You continue to do those things. Those are things that are not momentarily, they are everlasting.
Thank you, Brother Jules. Amen. Yeah, and I hear you. Because I'll tell you something too. What about spontaneity? What about, we didn't plan it. So are you saying to me because I didn't do all these things from the morning and during the day that we can't have sex now because I feel into sex now? Right. So these are some of the things you need to think about in terms of how you treat your wife. You must always remember, it's like, when you go to the bank to make a withdrawal, it had to be that you were depositing all the time. You can't go and put your card in the ATM if you didn't put in anything. Right? You may need to make a quick stop by the ATM, and you can do that if you know you have money in the bank. But if you have no money in the bank, guess what? You ain't getting nothing. There's nothing out. All right, so let's continue. Let's move on. Next person.
Dr. Richard, you have some comments in the chat before. One says that they want you to do things that their friend tells them to try.
Yeah.
Another said some women also have iron deficiency, which scientifically causes a lower libido.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Medical issues, yes. I hear
right.
you.
Thank
you.
In agreement. One says, and a woman can also do it too. Another says, I always say that what worked in the courtship is what will keep working. Another says, women love to appreciate and love it. Woman loves to be appreciated and love it. And love it. Doesn't matter her age and how she's looking. Woman loves to be appreciated. It doesn't matter her age and how she's looking. Another said some women have problem with the man personal hygiene. That causes problems with sex. Another says sometimes the way men keep themselves, their wife is turned off. Another says that they agree and wish all men would be that way, as what Brother Jules was saying. Another says, my husband needs some coaching again because he stopped being affectionate and I don't like slam bam. Thank you, ma'am. And Dr. Richards, this is maybe Joshua said I was saying it wrong, but Brother Jules hit the nail on the head there. And that's what I'm trying to say. Men need to understand sex, you have to please the woman. And as you please her, in turn, she would respond. And what Brother Jules is saying is such a truth. Intimacy is not just about sex. Once you continue loving all the time and treating your wife topper, she wouldn't have a problem. But sometimes you're coming to her, you didn't brush your teeth, you didn't take a bath, you just come in like that. Sometimes some women are comfortable when they clean. They just don't want you to experience their sweatiness and they want to go and bathe. And I know that it is said that men don't really care. Once they get it, they're just taking it. But I think one of the things is that men need to be taught that sex is not about them. Once they want to have sex, they kind of focus, some of them, on themselves. But you have to focus on pleasing that woman. Once you please your wife, Dr. Richards, and I would say it again, once she is pleased, I tell you, listen now, Dr. Richards, in your bedroom, she will take that roof off the house. But when you focus on yourself alone, women have to, you have to get into a woman, you have to get inside of her emotion. You have to bring that woman emotion to a place that will cause, let me tell you, will cause a fire in that room. And men need to understand that, right? And we have Debbie, Nicola.
Understood. Yeah, but let me just say, they mention a couple of things here that we did mention. That is, some women feel their husbands are selfish, only satisfy themselves. They want to be he wants her to be a porn star, do things that he has seen, or as somebody said, there's no, his friends tell him. And of course, we also talk about male hygiene, where men have to realize that you can't just go unbathed and smelling and sweaty. Maybe a mechanic and your hand dirty, or you just come from, and no, can't do that. And those are some of the reasons. But let's continue.
One comment, Dr. Richards, one comment. You cook, no compliments, like this is your job. Some feel you are the maid. Sister Debbie, then Sister Nicola, and Minister Bernadette, in that order.
Blessed night, everyone. Blessed night. Blessed night. So, Professor, you gave a list just now of what we call excuse, the excuses that women give, why they don't.
No, these are the reasons. I didn't call them excuses.
Right.
These are some of the reasons, yes.
Answer the correction. The reasons, right? So, in some of our past studies that we did, you all always mentioned, or you all taught us that women is an emotional being. We do everything with emotion, right? Everything. And we have men have a way, they see that tongue, they tend to, when they tell us certain things, they tend to bring down our self-esteem. That is one too, right? And, you telling me all these things, you treating me in a particular way, Professor. Now, of course, we deal with husband and wife, right? And after you tell me and you do me all these things, you expect me to just lie down and give it up, like, like nothing? And then they will say how I'm withholding it from you, Professor? So I think, it's a give, both with, and then and I say we, meaning men, male and female, we need to remember how or why or when I fell in love with you the first time. Where did that change? Where did the person go? She get pregnant, she get fat, she get thin, but you're supposed to remember the woman that you fell in love with or the man you fell in love with. And some of us don't be creative. We could be 30 years, 50 years into the marriage. We need to be creative. And I think that is one of the downfalls because we're not open to ourselves to receive new things. We just want to stay one way. It could be exciting, in our old age, it could be exciting. And First Lady said it just now, it's how you treat her, how she makes you feel. Self-esteem is one of them also.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Debbie. Who's the next person?
Good night, everyone.
Hi.
I would like to say I agree with Sister Debbie, what she said there just now as well, and I agree with a lot of people on the chat. However, what I also want to say is sometimes for women, well, I'm not a young woman, I'm in my 50s, but when we were younger and our parents and grandparents were teaching us, because sex was taboo, they were telling us what we have to do. I remember specifically my grandmother has had 8 children and my grandfather never saw her naked or never saw her in any manner in a certain way where we would know that a wife is supposed to show herself to her husband. So some men don't understand that some people were taught different, some women were explained to differently. And while I'm not using it as an excuse, because we as women are supposed to still go out there and try to learn for ourselves, especially now we have more technology. Not saying about porn, but we have more ways to discuss. We can have women groups, etc. We still have to men still need to understand too that, for example, you said clean the house dirty. Helping a wife clean the house, that could be, let's call it a turn on for that wife, because she's saying, yes, look at this husband, he's helping me meet my needs. I want to just hold on to him and hug him up and love him up. Different areas men can try to just understand that for women, one slight thing can change our emotions, and we no longer want to be in that way with you at that particular time. As well as we need to distress sometimes when we get home, and men don't need to do those things. So we have to make sure and communicate efficiently and effectively with our partner to say, hey, and we're not waiting until we're ready for sex. We're doing this, as you say, probably in counseling or something. I prefer when the house clean. and I might have a little issue with my body, so I prefer the lights off, but I think if we communicate and we go that way, we would not have excuses, but we might find a common ground for us to enjoy. But I remember I was with to talk about what Elder Sherry was speaking about earlier on too with her brother. I remember I was with my ex-husband for more than 20 years, and I asked him a time how I had put on some weight after childbirth, and I said, "How do you still see me? How do you see me? Am I still attractive to you?" And he said he sees me how he saw me the first day he met me. Now, with your mind thinking, well, how is he seeing that? Is it that he didn't want to see me put on weight, so he seen me how I used to be when I was slim, trim, and 17 years old? Or is it that, um, he seen me like that because he loves me? So it's a lot of little simple things that men say, and they don't understand they're saying it in a way that we may not take it how they mean it. So it's a turn off for us, and we do not want to have sex with them. But if it is they speak and we can communicate efficiently, or really have a particular way to communicate with each other to say, well, all right, we really want to do this, it will come out easier. It'll be a lot easier.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's one of the reasons to, as I said, premarital counseling, because one of the things we talk about is family of origin. Because when you're getting married to somebody, it's not just them, it's the whole family, it's the parents, it's the grandparents, it's the house they grew up in, it's what was the norm. These are some of the things we talk about, because people come into marriage with not just differences in how sex is supposed to be, how a house is supposed to be kept. When you were home, did you take off your shoe by the door, or you walk in the house, walk straight in the house? These are some of these things, little things that cause problems. So that's why it's important, again, for premarital counseling, because you delve into all these areas, so you don't go into marriage thinking that you're on the same page, because you might be in two different pages and you didn't realize. And it's only when you encounter these issues, these challenges, then you realize, well, I didn't know he used to think like that. I didn't know she expected that sort of thing. So premarital counseling is so important. But even so, you may not have had that, and even postmarital counseling, you don't have to wait until you having issues to talk about it. And that's why we're talking about it now. You don't have to have problems that tearing you all apart. It's nice to come together and talk about these things. And communication in a marriage is so very important. You said something very significant, Nikki, where you talked about how he sees you. Now, it didn't occur to me. I mean, when you said that, and he says he saw you the way you all got married, I said, yeah, that's a compliment, but you didn't see it like that. So again, men and women sometimes think differently, and that's where communication, talking to one another, that's where it comes in. But I'm talking too much. The next person.
Good evening, Dr. Richards, prophetess, elders, ministers, and my fellow brothers and sisters. There's two ways to look at it, right? Now, there are the married persons with children, and there are married persons without children. Now, if you as husband and wife without children, now that impromptu sex it could happen at any time. You walk through the door, you have sex. And when I say sex anywhere, any part of the house. Now, when you have children, now that impromptu you have to kind of manage that. You don't want to, be jumping on your spouse in the kitchen, on the kitchen counter, no christening here, christening there. No, you cannot do that. So there are certain limitations and boundaries according to your position with if you have children, if you don't have children. Now, I am a person, I would not have sex without my spouse bathing, or even myself. I will come home after having a long day of work, and we'll work long hours. To me, that is a turn off for me. So instead of, chastising the husband, why don't go on bed? Why don't both of you go bed together and start it in the shower and then take it to the bedroom? And another thing, a point you raised is the lights on. Who says the lights have to be off? Leave the light on, pull your phones, put on some nice music and you enjoy each other. And again, it's all about communication, because there are some women, they like unbedded husband, they like that. They like the sweat to start from that's a turn on for them from work. But the thing is that I personally do not like that. And that is sometimes, that is this infection too. That is infection. You could get infections from that, because you don't know if your spouse uses the toilet. You, of course, you will use the toilet, and then you go inside your wife, and then what? That is infection. And then you communicate in the bedroom. Some women like myself, that tongue and air thing, I do not like it. So at first my husband used to do it, and now he don't, because he understand that, that is spit and wax. No, right? That is ear infection. So again, you have to learn your spouse, and you, as Brother Jules said, you woo the man, as my mother-in-law always say, do not let the novelty wear out. You woo your wife, you woo your husband. Who says that the husband alone has to message his wife? You can do the same thing. Ask him how they going. Have keywords, have your little love language you do with your spouse, so it will channel the day. And when you get home, you don't even need to have sex. That whole hug up, having spending that quality time that doesn't always end up in sex, that is far better. And when you have a good session, the man getting food like a king, I'm telling you, getting everything on a platter, you getting fed like a king. So it's all about your communication and what you like and what your spouse like. Everything is individual and marriage to marriage based.
Thank you so much. And that's why communication is so important between a husband and a wife. It is very important. You have to talk about everything. You have to talk about what you like and what you don't like. Some people go along because my husband like to do this or my wife like that, and you don't like it, and it is a turn off for you, but the person doesn't know. And sometimes if you just mention it, they will say, okay, I didn't know, let's not do this. But a lot of time we don't communicate. And some of us, even to our spouses, we're afraid to say, we're ashamed to say what we don't like and even what we like. You have to tell your husband where you like to be touched, how you like to be touched, and he has to do the same thing. It's important. Communication in a marriage is really, really important. And when that is lacking, then everything else falls apart, because they don't know they're operating by guess. And not only operating by guess, they're operating based on what they feel. It's like the love languages. We're loving people not in their language, but in our language. One of the other things that was said about why a woman wouldn't have sex with her husband. Just give me 1 second. Let me just say this last thing. Is the lack of a husband's sexual skill. A lot of men don't know. They don't know how to make love to their wife. They don't know how to please their wife. They don't know about this thing called foreplay. They feel sex is just getting straight into it. Slam bam. All right. And because a woman wants to be, she wants to be touched. She wants her, not just physically, but her emotions touched. A lot of men miss that. They miss out on that. And as I told you last night, this woman she said, I have a whole body, not just a hole in my body. And men don't understand that, because they feel they concentrate on this one area. That's their focus of attention. So he's unskilled. And when you're unskilled, the woman doesn't enjoy it. And that's why some women don't like to have sex with their husband, because it's just sex and nothing else. It's not intimate. There's no intimacy in it. That someone was saying something.
Hello, Sherry, hand is up.
Dr. Richards, I just want to make a point. Sometimes like women, they would be unsaved and they all good, they know how to navigate in the bedroom and thing, and when they get saved they think it's against
they get saved, the sex
they
gets
get,
saved.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like all excitement and foreplay and thing, because they feel it's wrong, they feel they're sitting in the eyes of the Lord and thing. And I think that's another reason why a lot of women they're very cautious in the bedroom as Christian as to what is acceptable or not. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Sex is something to be enjoyed. It is something to be enjoyed between two people, a husband and a wife. A man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and two of them shall become one flesh, both of them. And so, you learn together, you grow together. You have to be open to one another, to what you like and what you don't like, what pleases you, what pleases him, what pleases her. And the thing is, as Elder Sherry said, before you became saved, you're willing to do all that, you're willing to go the whole, well, they say 9 yards, but that's an American term. You're willing to go this distance, but you get saved and like your sexual appetite gets saved too, and you feel like you're sinning against the Lord. But God is the one who created sex. God is the one who created, and he's seeing you while you are having sex. He knows. He sees and he knows. So we need to talk some more. We need to talk to each other. We need to start asking some questions of one another. What it is that I do that you do not like, that turns you off. And you must be willing to hear what the person has to say about you too, because you might figure, well, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but you might be turning off your spouse and you don't know. So communication is key. I see we have gone over the time again. I wish we had some more time, because this is something we really need to delve into some more, because I'm hearing you all talking, and I know there are some of you who can enlighten and educate us, the rest of us. Yeah, you have a lot, because some of you have been married for years. So you know the do's and the don'ts. And we want to hear. We want people to be educated as far as sex is concerned, because it is one of the things that is causing separation, divorce, infidelity. Right? Not being able to navigate the whole sexuality, excuse me, not being able to navigate it properly. And some people are living a life where it's boring for them. It's not enjoyable when it can be. And we want to turn that light back on. We want to turn that fire back on. We want to get that spark going again. So we will continue, God's willing, on Tuesday, and we will pick up right where we left off. Any questions or comment, anybody, before we close? Are we good? Prophetess? Let me see if I could pull my screen so that I can see.
Yeah, because we have some comments. Right, and it says one comment says some men don't understand intimacy. It's not only about sex. It's not cuddling. Right, and we have some people saying they're agreeing with that comment, and there's a comment saying that they're good, that they understand.
And I'll tell you something, some men need to stop listening to other men and all their exploits and thinking, I go in for 3-4 rounds the whole night, I go in. That is not possible for a man. It's not. And but we just want, we hearing, so we want to go back and boast. And we're doing things that we're not supposed to do. All right. So, and there's something I wanted to say to men, the men on the platform. One of the things that they don't teach us, and it's important, when you're going to use the washroom, men, you need to wash your hands before and after, not just after. You're going to pee, you wash your hands before, because your hands are all over the place. If you're working in the office, it's on the desk, you're touching this, you're touching that, and then you go to pee, and your hands and go on your penis, and it could cause infection, all sort of germs. So wash your hands before and after. Yeah? So this is for the men. And ladies, what I want you to do as your homework, ladies, please, we want to hear. There's something we may not have covered tonight. Could you, yes?
Judah, hand is up.
Whose hand is up?
Judah.
Judah. Okay.
Good night,
Yes,
everybody.
Judah. Hi.
Pastor, I have a question, right? You said to wash your hands before and after you use the washroom, right? But
Yes.
let's just say in the scenario where you need to pee badly, right? So let's say you just come from the car, right? And you drink a lot of water or juice or whatever, and you need to go and use the washroom badly. Can you know how bad, like when you need to pee, you don't really care for anything else, you need to go straight to the washroom. So I'm asking you as as male to male, are you really going to stop by the sink to wash your hands before you're going to pee? If you need to use the washroom.
Listen, if you cannot stop, you can't stop. There's nothing you could do about that. But I'm saying the practice should be, and you should have it in your mindset. Listen, this is the norm, because there's something called muscle memory, where you tend to do things. Once you practice something often enough, it happens just like that. It's called muscle memory. Your muscles remember what it is supposed to do. So if we start practicing washing our hands first, sometimes even if you have to run quickly to the bathroom, there's something in your mind that tells you, no, I need to wash my hands first. I need to do that. Of course, there may be time when it is not practical, it is not possible. Those should be the exception, not the rule. All right? So I'm saying start practicing washing your hands first, men. It may not always be possible, but start practicing doing that. Yes?
Dr. Richards, as I said, I want to say to people, I think sometimes we don't think about it. Your private part is probably the most cleanest part of your body when you shower. Remember when you take a shower, you dry your skin, and you put on your underwear. That part of your body is not exposed, It is the cleanest part of your body. And I think people don't really realize that, and that's why it's so important to keep it healthy by washing your hand and taking care of it. It's always covered. Your hands is very dirty. As a matter of fact, your hands are more dirtier than your private area, because your private area is inside and only comes out when you have to use the washroom, and then you cover it back up. You understand? And we have to understand that your face is more dirtier than there. If you understand what I'm saying, Dr. Richards. I just wanted to add to what you're saying.
Yeah, and let me say something as well. I know we're going over time. One of the things that men should start practicing, and it happened to me that some time ago, and I was curious. I went for a massage. I love massages. People, if ever you want to bless your pastor with something, bless me with a massage. I don't mean you have to do it personally, but I love massages. It's just me. There's just something about it. I guess my love language is touch, so I like to be touched, and I like to, get my body massaged. But anyway, I went, and before I got my massage, the lady, the therapist, because she's a massage therapist, asked me if I want to use the washroom. I said yes, and she said, "Let me check first to make sure it have paper." And I said, "Well, I just want to pee." She said, "Yes, but you need to use paper. You need to use toilet." I mean, and every time I go, she gives me. If she doesn't have, she gives me toilet paper. We men need to start using that. Like the women don't go and urinate without using toilet paper. But men also need to wipe. I know we have this thing about shaking, but sometimes you're shaking and it's all over the place. And, it wets up the seat and it wets up the ground and that kind of thing. So, she told me, use toilet paper. Maybe that's something we can all start practicing, men.
And not only that, Dr. Richards, not only to wipe the seat, to lift up the seat. You take toilet paper to lift up the seat. That's
yes,
why
of course.
use toilet paper.
Of course.
And that's what I'm saying. It's the cleanest part of the body. But a man will go into a public place, take his clean hand and lift up a toilet seat, and then take that hand that he touched the toilet seat with and hold his penis with it to urinate.
Yeah.
You see? It's about simple hygiene. So you take the paper, you use it to hold the seat, and if you're finished, you wipe the seat with it. You know, it's
All
kind of
wipes.
practice
Yeah.
proper
All
hygiene.
wipes. Yes. Right. So these are some of the things that we, it causes a change of mindset, because some people, some men especially, might figure, why do I have to do that? I live my whole life. I go in there, use the thing, I done a shake and a go. But when knowledge brings wisdom, right? On the road to wisdom is knowledge. So we're giving you the knowledge now and hope that understanding. So it's knowledge, understanding, wisdom. You don't get wisdom without understanding. That's another topic for another time. Yeah, so we're trying to help you, men. And you see, what happens as well is when you go, you get an infection, or you might even get the infection that bad in a way, but you pass it on to your wife, and she gets it really bad, and that is problem. So that's it for tonight, folks. We need to probably dedicate a whole night to do something like this, because the time is always appears to be very short.